And you've got Ernie Johnson. We'll see the Charlotte Hornets going up against the Pacers in Indianapolis. For Indiana, this is their first time playing this squad so far this season. Last year, they had a winning record against them, going 2-1. All right, big fella, I want some straight talk on the Indiana Pacers, and this is not based on numbers or stats.
Welcome, everyone. This is what you've been waiting for. The NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan, joined by Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke. Just off a road trip, the Pacers are back at home, getting their first look of the season at this Hornets team. And last year, they were able to take the edge in the series thanks to some clutch play.
Yeah, I think they're a little better than this ball club, and it showed last year winning the season series.
So the Hornets win the tip. Here's the starting group for the Charlotte Hornets. Pairing in the backcourt, it's Walker and Henderson. Bogut out there with Draymond Green. And it's Stevenson in at the small forward. Bogut kicks to Stevenson. And it's sent back by George. They retain possession. And the call will be against George Hill. That is his first foul of the game. Tries to keep it alive. Now the Pacers moving it up the floor. West kicks to Hill. And there's the pass to Hibbert. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line. That's on Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, he got whacked. Shouldn't be much debate on that one.
Yeah, that was as straightforward as it gets, guys.
Steve just mentioned how they won the season series a year ago. That was the way it went against most teams they faced.
True. They were a very hard team to get the best of, Kevin. Roy Hibbert, the big dog, number 55 for the Pacers, is 7'2", and is a little too big for king-size beds. Every time the Pacers go on the road, he has to take along a special inflatable mattress that he likes to sleep on. Some of the downsides to living large.
Here is Stuckey following the basket by Gerald Henderson. Clock at 4. Stuckey drives inside. The shot's good on the assist by West.
He got a little room at the rim and laid it in. Great play.
And just over a minute played here in the start of the game. And Hibbert's father stands 6'2", and Steve, his mother, is 6'1". But Roy obviously towers over both of them.
Well, he towers over everybody, Kevin. I mean, you know, you look at the family roots. His parents came from the Caribbean. And Roy actually played one game for the Jamaican national team back in 2010. And unfortunately, that actually may rule him out of playing for Team USA. So a very interesting sort of international background there.
Hill dishes to George. West a screen on Stevenson. And George kicks to Hill. Outside for George. And the basket by Hill. Hill's got his first 2 points.
He had his choice of finishing moves there, and you just got to love the fact he went old school with the finger roll.
And the shot is good. Several lead changes going on here in the early portion of this game.
Yeah, but neither team really able to jump ahead.
Yeah, 5 times already the lead has changed.
Now here is Hill. 11 points for him in that last game against Chicago.
He got some huge points from the foul line too, Kevin. He was very aggressive, generating contact and drawing fouls.
Here's West, and it's blocked by Bogut. Pass to Henderson. An easy 2 points on the layup. Henderson's got 6 points.
4 or 5 shots have dropped for them already. Not a bad way to get things started.
In the corner, Stuckey with it. And the rebound goes to the Hornets. They want to keep it rolling here following the win against Dallas.
Well, Kevin, they constructed a perfect offensive game plan going into that game, and it was quickly apparent how powerless the defense was to stop it.
Powerless is a good way to put it, Steve. We're unlikely to see that many uncontested baskets again anytime soon.
Now here is Hill, following the miss by Lance Stevenson. Kemba Walker with the rebound.
Can't say I'm surprised that one didn't fall. He can barely dunk it in the pregame layup line.
And that one's good by Henderson.
That's his 4th straight make right out the chute. He's setting a pretty high standard for himself here.
Yeah, it's the kind of start you want every game, but of course you rarely get it.
Here is Stuckey, following the basket by Gerald Henderson. It's stolen by Green. Stevenson drives in, puts up the baby hook. Tried to bank it in, but he misses.
I like the work there, contesting that shot that looked like it was going to be easy, but they forced the miss.
You know what? He got it in close, but couldn't finish in traffic.
How about that? Gets it off right in the face of the big fella. Quick release.
And operating on the perimeter like that negates some of the height disadvantage, too.
And Bogut slams it in. Well, now they're just going to town on it.
Yeah, you'd think these defenders would have done a little more to put a stop to that stuff, Kevin, but so far, no go.
Well, a phenomenal aerial assault there, fellas.
On the wing, Stevenson. Back to Bogut. He kicks it to Stevenson. Pass to Henderson. Green against West. Puts up the baby hook. And that one off the back of the rim and in.
Well, I tell you what, I need to see some more assertiveness out of these defenders. They're not getting the job done.
Yeah, that's 10 of the last 12 points they've allowed on good looks right at the rim.
Looking at the last game for the Indiana Pacers, it was a loss to the Bulls.
Well, they heaved up a lot of ill-advised three-pointers in that loss. Guys, they were way too trigger-happy from downtown.
Yeah, and that's not the area on the court where you want to be forcing shots from. Heck, you were a great three-point shooter, and you know that, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it comes and goes, but you can't just rely on that when things aren't going your way.
And here's Charlotte. They're on a 14-6 run. It's not very often you can say this about the future is looking pretty bright in Charlotte.
So often the season ends and you're thinking about the issues you've got to deal with, but right now the Hornets headed in a good direction.
Here's Stuckey. Kemba Walker making his last shot. Here's Hibbert. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
Roy Hibbert, one of the premier defensive big men in the game, among the league's top shot blockers. He anchored the #1 defense in the NBA.
Indiana making some changes. Mahimi comes in for David West. And it's Watson in for Rodney Stuckey. Charlotte also making some changes. Biyombo checks in for Andrew Bogut. And Robert Covington subbed in for Gerald Henderson. Now here's Walker. What a tremendous game he played against Dallas. Covington's shot is off.
Hibbert has really become the league's foremost practitioner of the rule of verticality, the straight-up denial at the rim or in the paint. Being able to contest shots effectively without fouling. And because he's so big, that huge frame allows him to absorb contact and disrupt shots around the basket without even touching the ball sometimes.
And as officials become more aware of Hibbert's game, Steve, they're letting him play.
Well, and he still reminds the officials before every game. He says, hey, I'm going straight up tonight. Coach Vogel echoing that. He says he's the best in the league at the verticality rule, and let's honor that.
Looking at who's out there now for the Pacers. Allen's checked in for Hibbert. And Donald Sloan subbed in for George Hill. The Hornets also with a sub. Zeller's checked in. Here's Sloan. Pass to Allen. 6 on the shot clock. The shot by Mahimi, no good. Charlotte leading by 9. Well, Doris, an interesting game. Moments ago, you had a chance to talk with head coach Frank Vogel. What do you have to say?
Kevin, I talked to him about the shot blocking they're certain to face in this matchup. He's certainly cognizant of it, and he told me this. If we can play a little more up-tempo and score before their bigs can recover, that will help. Also, getting them on the move in the half court, whether with ball movement or screens, will also serve us well. Kevin, if they can execute, they'll have some success.
All right, thanks, Doris. I think it's the one thing we were talking about before the broadcast. The defense they're facing always seems to be in a lockdown mode.
Yeah, that's their identity, Kevin, and there's kind of an intimidation factor involved here. They've gained their reputation as a defensive club for a reason. They're tough.
Yeah, they really are tough, and they also do a good job of making you uncomfortable and frustrating you a little bit. So you got to keep your poise when you're facing a team as good as this one is defensively.
And he gets it to go.
Pretty much all of their buckets coming from inside the paint now.
Yeah, that's 5 of their last 6 baskets inside the lane. They have really established themselves inside.
Got that one up quick.
Boy, he's so hard to stop, guys, because he poses a ton of matchup problems for the defense.
Hornets leading by 13. Right side to Walker. Stevenson kicks to Covington. That's good, and it's Stevenson with the assist. Stevenson's got his 4th assist in this one.
Yeah, they have to pick up intensity and close out.
Steve, you're right. I mean, they're getting part out there, and the on D's got to pick up and have it on cruise control on defense. You know, they've scored times already here in the down low. I like that.
Yeah, me too, Clark. I think anytime it's pounding the side, you got to continue to go to the well.
There's Biombo. Another miss. Boy, they had their but couldn't get it. Now Watson. He's been patient so far. Nothing yet on the scoreboard. Allen, a screen on Walker. Watson kicks to Mahinmi. Here's Sloan. Not really his range, and it's off target.
So far on the glass, it hasn't even been close.
Yeah, they're taking it to him. I mean, just getting physical. Like, it feels like they've gotten every rebound, Clark. Very positive opening quarter for them. The shots have been falling.
You know, the shooting percentage would be nice if it stayed right there, but that's going to be tough to do.
Here is Watson, averaging 6 points per contest. Sloan passes to Watson. Lets it go with the 3. It's rebounded by Charlotte. Charlotte shooting their 5th and 6th free throws of the game.
Well, the season numbers for this club are really low. I mean, this is something that the team has been focusing on. They've got to improve.
And, Kevin, it's something they've been working very hard to correct and to change. I mean, they know how important it is to fix that inability at the free throw line.
12 seconds left to play in the first quarter. And George kicks to Watson. Feeds it to West. And Watson has it in the corner. The first quarter concludes in a double-digit lead on the scoreboard. Hornets lead by 18. Let's take a quick break now, and then it's on to the second quarter after this.
The NBA season pushes on. Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors go up against Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat next Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern Time.
Well, not exactly a close game so far, but as the second quarter starts here, plenty of time for a comeback. And what do you guys think so far about the offensive approach for the Hornets?
Guys, their penetration has been outstanding. I mean, it's actually been great. They're really finding those holes in the defense.
And they're sharing the ball, too, which I love. They're piling up the assist. We're seeing great offensive movement.
And now let's check out the lineups courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. Here's the second quarter of play. And so in the game for the Pacers. Down low, West and Hibbert. Hill is out there with Rodney Stuckey. And it's George in at the 3 spot. And he gets it to go. West has got the opening basket here in the second quarter for the Pacers. So it's the Hornets now.
You know, the league doesn't always update players' heights after they enter the league. Paul George, 6'10", after a late growth spurt following his rookie season in the NBA.
Now, here is Dallenberg. He feeds it to Covington. Kicks it to Walker. Three-pointer. Shot misses. And it's the Pacers taking it the other way. Next matchup, they'll be home against the Suns. And that game is the second of 2 straight at home.
I'll be looking forward to seeing how that Phoenix game turns out for sure.
West against Dallenberg. In the corner, Stuckey with it. 6 to shoot. West setting the pick for Stuckey. Puts one up from 19. Here's Hibbert. Hornets with the rebound. And we play just over a minute of basketball here in the second. And the jam by Gerald Henderson.
A rim rocker.
Look for a second like he might rip the cylinder loose.
Now that is some strength there, guys.
Pacers trail by 18. And Paul George with great athleticism and fluidity at his side.
Yeah, he makes it really look easy. He's a very gifted athlete. Extremely quick. not only a foot, but his hands are quick too. He's not just